Today we have an action-packed episode where we are gonna talk about political plots, intrigues, and fight for power in Russia that unfolded with the death of Empress Anna, who we talked about in our previous episode. Let's dive in. According to Anna's last will, son Ivan, a newborn, was declared the emperor, and the regent taking care of him was Biron, famous Anna's favorite. So who was this Ivan? Back in the days of Anna's rule, everyone knew Anna failed to produce an heir. However, there still are rumors around that she gave birth to a son whose father was this Biron, and that the son was the part of the court, but he lived incognito. She didn't want the throne to get back into the hands of Peter's dynasty line because she descended from the line of Peter's brother. So she tried to take care of business herself. She made sure that her court took an oath to serve the future child of Anna Leopoldovna and some foreign prince she'd get married to. And who was that another Anna? Our Empress Anna had an older sister Catherine, who, according to Peter the Great's will, got married to a foreign prince Karl Leopold, the Duke of Mecklenburg, today's Germany. So this Anna Leopoldovna was their child. Catherine's marriage turned out to be a failure, and she had to overcome a lot of difficulties to run away back to Russia. In 1733, Anna Leopoldovna was presented to her future husband, Duke Anton Ulrich of Brunswick, Germany again. He came to St. Petersburg, but people just didn't like him. He was phlegmatic, sleepy, and showed no signs of having any ambitions in life. He served in Russian military for a few years, and Field Marshal Minik, who went down to Crimea with his army during the reign of Empress Anna, was not happy about Anton Ulrich's service. However, against Anna Leopoldovna's will, they got married in 1739, and in 1740 she gave birth to a boy who they named Ivan, and the kid was promoted to the emperor by Empress Anna when she was on her deathbed. Empress Anna's last will stated that if Emperor Ivan fails to reach adulthood and dies prematurely, Biron remains the regent before Ivan's younger brother grows up, etc. Biron was pretty happy and his career was going strong. His power started to grow and he started to have less fears about anything. The nobility wanted him to take control. However, the spanner in the works was the fact that the National Guard pledged allegiance to the new emperor, and Biron just didn't trust them. And as history showed us, he didn't trust them for a reason. Biron's regency from that moment on lasted for only 3 short weeks and not 17 years as he was hoping it will. The summer palace where he peacefully slept on one of the silent nights was quietly stormed by the aforementioned National Guard under the command of Biron's fellow politician Field Marshal Minik. Minik wanted to rule himself, and he had stabbed Biron in the back when he least expected it, and it came as a total surprise to everyone as Minik helped Biron rise to power. Minik had everything planned from the get-go. He did everything with the blessing of young emperor's mother, Princess Anna Leopoldovna, who didn't really like the very powerful Biron. We do, however, have a reason to believe that the night before the coup, Biron had a meeting with Minik where he asked him if he ever had an experience of taking emergency actions in the middle of the night. Minik mumbled something back and left. When the guards stormed the palace, Biron tried to fight back, however he was quickly knocked out by a rifle's butt. Then they dragged him outside, past the Empress Anna line and stayed there, who could not help her favorite anymore. Minik had a plan to take control of the country after this coup, but it was still not over. After becoming the Empress, Anna Leopoldovna, instead of Field Marshal Minik, appointed her husband, Anton Ulrich, the commander-in-chief and gave him the rank of Generalissimo. Minik resigned, hoping though that the Empress would reject his resignation on the grounds that he's the only one who could handle ruling the country. Anna Leopoldovna, however, signed his resignation without hesitating even a minute. Minik had lost it all. He was detained and was put under a home arrest with National Guard guarding his home. The country started to fall apart right after. Anna Leopoldovna and her family were not popular neither with people nor with guards, and powerful people in the government like Biron and Minik were not there anymore. Russia's neighbors were monitoring the situation, and when they felt that Russia was weak enough, Swedish troops tried to invade, and most of the battles took place in today's Finland, but Russia was able to defeat the enemy. This time wasn't without anecdotes, and one of the most famous ones was the arrival of Persian Embassy to St. Petersburg under the rule of Shah Nadir Arshaf, who brought all sorts of gifts to the Russian royals: jewelry with precious stones, pictures made of gold, Middle Eastern fabrics, swords and guns encrusted with diamonds. However, what everyone loved the most were the 14 elephants brought to the Emperor Ivan as a gift. It was not all just a nice gesture. Middle Eastern prince wanted to win the heart of the young Princess Elizabeth, Peter the Great's daughter, and she was so beautiful that the whole world was talking about her. They were never allowed to meet though, and Elizabeth was pretty much upset about that. However, for her, the best was yet to come. No one was a stranger to plots and coups at that time, and the storm above the ruling monarchs started to get threatening. As we have just said, Elizabeth was beyond beautiful. Everyone loved her. All the men wanted to be with her. Young Tsarina loved to party, knew her dress as well, didn't bother to focus on complex things, and seemed to be pretty simple. No one could even imagine her to become an empress at some point in future. But some people who observed her growing up would say that things were not what they seemed, and that she was not that simple, and that everyone should just watch her and see what happens. Anna Leopoldovna's power was hanging by a thread. After the death of Peter the Great, a lot of water passed under a bridge, and all the bad things that happened during his reign, all the hardships and the pain that the changes he started had brought, started to fade away. They say the absence makes the heart grow fonder, and with time passing by, he became an even bigger hero in the eyes of the citizens than he was ever before. The veterans would start to talk more and more about his daughter and how wonderful it would be if she continued what her father had started and would bring Russia to the old days of glory. Elizabeth loved the army and the National Guard. She was always friendly with soldiers and veterans and would become a godmother to many of their children. Little by little, the thought of taking the power from the ones who abused Russia started to form in her head. She knew she could count on the guards, the soldiers, on the officers of Peter's famous Preobrazhensky Transfiguration Regiment. Thus, on a dark winter night in 1741, she took off to the barracks of Preobrazhensky Regiment, appealed to soldiers, and all together they went to storm the Winter Palace where no one suspected anything. There were no officers with Elizabeth, so she commanded her troops herself. There was snow all over the place, and soldiers would carry her on their shoulders all the way to the palace and inside. Everyone who participated in storming the palace was awarded with nobleman's title, got permit to make their own coat of arms, and given an estate. The new empress had formed her own Imperial Guard, and every single soldier who helped her would become a member. So Peter's daughter made her stakes, gambled and won, making it happen for herself. Her father's crown was returned back to the family, and she became Empress Elizabeth. This moment begins the most colorful, richest and happiest time for Russian Empire, and that's what we will be talking about in our next videos. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss all the fun. Thank you for taking time to watch this episode today. Drop likes and follow us on Instagram. Sending you all hugs and see you next time.